Hey everybody, it's me, Camille. I'm here with my beautiful mother, Jackie Dozier, and I just wanted to do something fun. I know a lot of people know me in a certain light. They know me either from my job, we became friends in the military, and then I have some friends who knew me as a child, but we haven't really connected again since I've been an adult. So I just wanted to do this little series, kind of like a 360 view of who I am from people who are the closest to me, my mother, my children, some of my best friends and partner. So I'm going to start with my mother, Jackie. And so I'm just going to ask her a series of questions and see what comes out of it. We have not talked about it. She doesn't know what I'm going to ask. I don't know what her responses are going to be. So this is just kind of raw and real right now. So, Mom, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right. So, first question is, did you want me?
Um, we're wrong, real. I didn't think I was going to have any children. I got one, and so when I got pregnant with Camille, it was like, can I do this again? And I loved that first one so much, I didn't know if I was capable of loving any other children. So Camille was not planned. She was a birth control baby. I was taking him because it was helping me another situation. So she was not planned. But after she got here, it was on.
Okay. All right. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I made it. I
absolutely.
made it.
You
Against
made
all
it. Thank
odds,
you.
plus some, I made it. All right. So when I was born, I know that you just said that, I was a birth control baby, didn't really desire to have another child. But when I arrived, what was your initial thought?
The cutest, the cutest. Camille, I had 2 hours, unheard of. 2 hours of labor, and girlfriend was here. Just at the end, she's been fast ever since. But and when she came out, she was fat. She was 19 inches long, 7 points. I mean, 7 pounds. 2 ounces, Camille?
I think so.
Somewhere around there. And of course, high yellow, bald headed, just a layer of thin covering hair, little pug nose, the cutest mouth. She still has that mouth to me, the cutest mouth, and she was just the sweetest and the cutest little baby when she came out. So it was. I said, okay, I can do this again. This is good.
Nice, nice. So, in my early years, how would you describe me?
Um, I think I missed you in your early years. I thought you were clingy, a crybaby, very needy, and excuse the graphics. If I had to go to the restroom, Camille would get on the floor and put her fingers under it and with mommy, mommy, out the door, mommy, out the door. She would not let me out of her sight. And I just thought that was just a little bit too much for an introvert, the demand of my time and attention. But she was very precious, very smart, very intuitive. And one of the things I was going to say is that I missed was she had a very severe eye problem that we misdiagnosed for the first 8 years of her life. And so it caused her to feel she couldn't see and couldn't see well, should I say. And so I guess it caused her some maybe internal fears of being left alone because she didn't know what her environment looked like and it was not safe for her. So, and we missed that literally for 8 years.
Mhm. So, I know that I have a nickname and I have many nicknames. Okay. Some of them from Tush that I told my mom at some point that I didn't want to be Tush no more. From Buddha to Boo to Bougie, Bueni, you name it. So I think
Yeah.
it was all kind of a derivative of Buddha
Yes.
at the end because I was a little fat, bald head baby. But there was another one, and it was called El Destructo.
To say the least.
Share a little bit about that stage in my life.
Okay. Camille was she still has big hands, and I think we both have large hands. And when we were in Japan, we were buying all these knickknacks and these things that we could take back to the United States and start all kinds of what do you call it when you be
Collection.
elect collections and what have you. And so I really like the little crystal things. They were made by a special designer in Japan. So we bought all these beautiful crystal, real crystal knickknacks. Bought my mother a whole collection. But for some reason, Camille was drawn to those collections. And literally, I wish I could find something. I'll just use this right here. Camille would go and she would put her face very close to them because she couldn't see. And I thought maybe she was looking at design or something. She would pick that thing up and in her hand, she would just, and you could hear it crackling. And those things eventually, if they had lasted to this day, probably would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But she was destructive because everything those hands touched, she would squeeze the life out of it, crackle it, crack them, break them, whatever it was. And I don't know if she just got the joy of being able to destroy something. So we call her El Destructo. I'm telling you, she went through my collection, she went through my mom's collections, and just everything, including shoes and clothes and toys.
Well, I would like to say that I was trying to figure out the world because I did break them and then I would try to put them back. So I would try to balance it on the little legs and stuff like that, put it back in the curio cabinet as if I didn't touch it. I just wanted to see what would happen to it, if I... That's what I like to say.
And we should have probably taken them off of the tables and put them on the wall somewhere. Sure
I would have found a way.
Left over. I think you would have.
Yeah, we climbed walls and garages
right.
and jumped off rooftops and all kinds of stuff because, again, I was a tomboy too. So I don't think that would have deterred me. I would have found a way. But
I believe it.
Yeah. So then looking at me then, growing up or whatever, and the things that I used to do, what did you think, or how did you think I would turn out? What type of profession would you say that you thought I had an interest in when I was young?
Well, being that all 5 of you guys were tested for gifted and talented classes at the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts, I knew that you were gifted, and we were just exploring where your gifting would land. And I'm sure you remember what you chose was photography, and you're an excellent photographer. But in those days, in the 80s, we were buying $300 cameras, which is maybe 4 or 5 times that amount to this day. And you did extremely well, and we got you involved in the sports. We got you involved in dance, West African dance, and I kind of immersed you guys in the African culture. And so I just wasn't, you were just kind of all over the place. You had lots of interests and you exceeded expectations at all of them. So it's hard to lock you down. So one day I had a co-worker, John Gwynn, at the Urban League of San Diego. I was talking to John about you, and John said, bring her here and let's see what we can do with her at 13 years old. I think you started at 12, was it, Camille? 12 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
At the Urban League. So I think he made the future professional during that time.
Awesome. So how does that, when you look at me now, from then to now, what similarities do you see? Maybe what difference do you see, or what surprises you about who I am now versus where you may have imagined I would be then?
At 12 or 13, you were still sensitive. By that time, we had gotten your eyes diagnosed and you were wearing glasses. And I think that kind of helped you with your sense of what you were seeing and how you fit in the world. But I think when we took you to the Urban League, we had a new project going on there. And it was California was the leader in getting cigarette smoking out of public buildings. And so it was at the very early stages. Camille got the opportunity to, they hired Camille, and she became she would go into the stores and she would buy cigarettes. And that way we could flag the stores, give them additional training. But Camille did so well. She exceeded every other our group at the Urban League exceeded every other group in the state of California, and Camille was at the lead. And I used to drive him around. I'd have to sit out in the car and watch him through the window. And Camille would walk in there just like, she was 15, 16, no, like she was 18 or 21 years old. Asked for cigarettes, they would give it to her because she kind of looked like she was older. And so she did so well that John recommended her. First of all, they put her on radio to talk about how she was able to just walk in there so confidently and secure cigarettes that were banned. There was an age limit for purchasing cigarettes. And Camille did so well till they put her on the California State Board of Directors that was in charge of getting this cigarette. I don't remember the exact name of the board. Camille, you might remember.
But it was the Department of Health in San Luis Obispo.
Okay, got it. And I was on the board too. So Camille and I would jump in the car and we'd go up there, and they had this. I said this little girl, even though she was always a little bit taller, sitting on the board, and people wondered, who is she? And so during the introductions around the table, they would say, this is our number one buyer for our cigarettes. And then eventually that led to a video that President Ford's wife, was it, Camille? Betty Ford led the war on drugs, and they hired them, and Camille and her two sisters were in the.
No, that was Reagan, Mama.
Oh, Reagan. What was her name? Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Reagan, yeah.
Many years back. So almost 3 decades ago. And Nancy Reagan was in charge of it. And so Camille was one of the lead persons with her two sisters on that video that reached across the state of California as a training video for these stores. So I began to see Camille, I saw you blossom. John Gwynn had the intuition, and he put you in the right position that even at the age of 13, I mean, you could sit at the table with seasoned veterans on national boards and international boards, and you shared openly on radio, on TV, without any type of reticence or fear or concern about who you were. You got up there and you said what you had to say and did what you needed to do, and you just made headways in that war on cigarette smoking and selling cigarettes to minors. And so when I look back at that, but I still saw that very sensitive person. And if I hollered at you, you started crying. I thought, oh my God, Camille, please, you can't talk to me like that. So I thought, okay, boo, okay. So, but as you begin to grow, I did see a very mature professional side developing. And then I saw this very sensitive, age-appropriate emotional responses sometimes to things that you didn't like. So I don't know if you want me to go into the military thing.
I will in a minute.
Okay. So I saw two sides of you, and I didn't quite know what to do with it, even though I was just coming into my own professional life, having had you 5 kids and was home a lot as a stay-at-home mom and just getting into the world of work a few years. And so I was trying to develop my professional side as well. But I saw something in you in those days that I was really impressed by. I was, quite frankly, at points I was shocked, especially when you had to speak before people that you didn't know. And I just saw this blooming and budding professional at this age. And I thought at 13 years old, all I could do was sing and do speeches at church, and that was it. So I was quite impressed.
Yeah.
So I'm not really surprised. I was initially, until you joined the military. And then after that, here she is, guys. Here she is, world. Hang on, let's see what she's going to do with herself.
Yeah, so I was, my mom's talking about the California State Board. I was the youngest board member there, and we were responsible for getting smoking banned for the first time in the state of California indoors. And then, well, actually it was in San Luis Obispo initially, and then, extended to all of California. And then, of course, here we are today. But that was a great experience. And I got to travel all up and down California, speaking to schools and, crowds from a couple 2030 to thousands, and staying in Lawrence Welk resorts and staying in these five-star hotels. Got to do a little bit on TV and radio, and so that was a really when I thought back about it, that was a really great time in my life, and especially with the National Urban League and the conferences and helping with that and meeting a lot of people. It was awesome for me. So going into I have a couple of questions, but um, going back to the military before I joined, and your thoughts about the military, and then after I joined, what thoughts you had, concerns you had, and were any of those validated, or were you surprised?
I never believed that you would make it. I said, as soon as the drill sergeant got in her face, because I'm from a military family, my dad was retired Army, and Camille's dad retired Air Force. I never thought she'd make it. All I saw was those pictures and stories about people getting in your face and hollering at you and spitting on you and calling you all kind of names and bullying you, trying to make you a real soldier. She'll never make it. So, but her last year of high school, she had the opportunity to stay with my mom. And between, I just found out maybe a couple of years ago, between my mom and her dad, they signed her in to the military. But I was almost had another nervous drop because I just couldn't believe that Camille was going to go into any kind of military setting and make it because of her sensitive what is it? Her sensitivity to people speaking loudly in her
Hold
ear.
on, hold on. Mama said when I asked her initially, she was like, the military ain't no place for no woman. You ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it.
Absolutely,
You cry,
absolutely.
baby, you ain't gonna make it. I was like,
I was trying to be sensitive with the crybaby thing, Camille. But I wanted to go after high school. I wanted to go into the military, and my mother wouldn't let me go. And so, even after I got married, I tried going and ended up pregnant 3 times. So I couldn't go, but I just couldn't see, and I felt like my constitution was a little stronger than Camille's. But I was shocked when she went in, and I prayed a lot during her basic training, and then I got invited to her. We went to the basic training, and then when she went to ALS. And then we were in San Antonio. We drove to Shreveport, Louisiana, which was 4 hours. Should I stop there or keep going?
yeah, no, let me
Okay, go
explain.
ahead.
So I went to basic training. She came to my graduation. Of course, me and my mom, look somewhat alike. So my TI is like, is that, don't you move? Is that your mother over there? I know that. I'm look, yes, ma'am. That's too, like, look at your eyes. Yes, ma'am. That's I could tell.
Yeah.
Like, you just like your mama, huh? But anyway, so I wanted to say basic training, of course, is when we first get in. But I had graduated basic training, went to my first duty station. I went to technical school, went to my first duty station. And then about 3 years after I joined, 3.5 years, no, it was some years anyway. I went to Airman Leadership School. And this is kind of that middle ground before, as coming out of the ranks of airmen going into NCO. So my mother, that's what she's talking about, is Airman Leadership School. So go ahead, Mom.
Yeah. And we traced her wherever she went. That's where we went. Even to pick her up, what was it, in Tennessee, and then took her to Louisiana and
Mhm.
what have you. Dropped her off at the gate, and one of the whoever was responsible for getting her and taking her in. I told him, I said, y'all be careful with my daughter. Don't y'all hurt her. She's sensitive. I'm giving them all these rules and regulations based on what who I thought she still was. So then we get to ALS, and Camille calls me and said, Mom, please, I need you to be here. We had some car, we went to Jasper, hit some road construction that delayed us. And then Camille almost had a meltdown for sure. Mom, you're gonna miss my graduation. I said, Camille, I'm going to be there. By the time they put my salad plate on that table, I will be walking in the door. And I was driving a Dodge, what was it, Impala, I think it was.
No,
I,
it wasn't. It was a,
what was it?
I forget the
One of
name.
the
It'll
fast,
come to me.
sporty car, real fast. But I'm
Intrepid.
not afraid of speed. I put my pedal to the metal. God is my witness. And we didn't have cell phones in that day. And so I said, I'm going to be there. We flew. I think I was doing 95 to about 110. And so we got into the, well, I think we had stopped one time to let Camille know she was still having a meltdown. Some of her friends, I said, I will be there. I'm telling. They said, no, ma'am, you're not going to make it. It's this far. I said, I'm telling you, I'm going to be there. I will be there for my daughter. I don't care what. And it was literally, we probably cut off, which is a hard thing to do, almost 45 minutes of that drive, because Camille was, and everybody was so sure we would miss it. We got there, we dressed in the parking lot. Camille's friends came out, surrounded us. I took out one set of clothes, put on another set of clothes in the parking lot. I walked into that a place with speed. I sit down and wait a minute, let me use this. And what was laid right in front of me, just as I sit down, my salad plate. So we made it. And then when they called her up and said that she had made the number one person in the Airman Leadership School, is like, okay, all right. And they wanted me to say something. And Camille told them about my history, about, oh, you're never gonna make, you're just a crybaby. You can't see anybody fussing at you. You're not gonna do well. And I'm not really a bearer of bad news when it comes to my children's career field choices. But this one, I was so sure she was not gonna make it. And so I got to get a chance. So they prefaced my coming in my speech with, Camille's mother thought that she was too much of a crybaby to make it, and here she is, the number one person in the leadership school. And from that day on, I just took my hands. I said, okay, God, you got her. Whatever she's gonna do, let her get it done. And I have been pleasantly, from that day on, maybe the last 22 or 23 years, have watched her develop as an airman from one grade to the other in a primarily male-dominated career field, holding her own, because I can tell you she can fight now. So getting back to her career, so after that, I began to see her blossom as a career airman, blossom as a person. I have seen her go through hell, high water, back again, and still survive all of the trauma and the tragedies that she's withstood. We had her in counseling for a while, and the counselor said she has a gift of mercy. I said, she got the gift of something to be able to walk away from traumatic things and still have relationship, still not just literally go crazy like her mama did at one point. But so I have seen you blossom, and I have been, I knew that there was something in you after getting in the military. I saw the military do for you, for this career, what John Gwynn did for you at the Urban League. And I saw a woman warrior evolve. And the kid's dad was 6'3", so Camille and her, the other siblings, except for one, are all tall people. And so I just saw her start owning her body, owning her size, owning her giftings, owning her professionalism. And just every time she got another promotion, I was like, go boo, all the way to the top. So, and so and even now in this part of the career, I'm not surprised. Still got a lot to say about that as well. But I have watched, I probably start opening my eyes at when you were maybe about 10 or 11, to start seeing the possibility of who you could become. And I didn't see that prior to the first 10 years.
Nice. I've heard, or of course, I've been a part of the stories, but me and my mom have never had this kind of conversation. So you guys are hearing it as I'm hearing it as well. So if I'm kind of just looking over here, I'm just kind of taking it in. So, yeah. All right. So a couple of other things. What was your favorite memory of me growing up, or even throughout my life?
My favorite memory was about 36 years ago, when we found out Camille had the most severe case of astigmatism the doctor had ever seen. After I took her home, I'm just into myself, because I'm saying to myself, how did I miss it? She learned to read at about 3 or 4 years old. I would show her sight cards, and she would read the sight cards. The words were accurate. I would give her books. She would read the words in the book. She went to elementary school, and in elementary school, she was always in her top classes. So by the time she was in the 3rd grade, the teacher called me and said, I think Camille has a problem with her eyes because every time I put things on the board, she has to walk up to the board and look at it. Her last name started with an S, and they started, they would put you in alphabetical order, so she was usually at the back of the room. So the teacher, as she said, I said, okay. So I got her that day. We made an appointment, took her to the doctor. We were there quite a while. They did all kinds of tests with her. And he came out and he said, he said, how's she doing in school? I said, she excels. How's she doing reading? How's she doing this? I said, she runs, she plays sports. And then he says, impossible. She can't do that. Okay, what's going on? Then he tells me she has a worst case of astigmatism, so that she doesn't see well. And he said, and he doesn't know how she's been able to do what she needs to do, how she can walk into a room by herself. And I mean, just that floored me. So after we got the glasses and went through the test, we got Camille's glasses. She and I were driving home and it was raining. And she said to me, she says, Mom, is that what rain looks like? I thought, you've never seen rain before, Camille? She says, no, I just know what people said it was and how it feels, but I've never seen rain. I said, wow. And then she turns around, she looks at me like this. She says, Mom, is that what you look like? At that time, I couldn't hardly see. I think the windshield wipers were going, but I couldn't hardly see it. But my daughter only saw what I looked like at 8 years old. And she says, I said, Camille, you never, she said, because I remember she would always put her hands on me. She always wanted to touch my face. And sometimes it was annoying to me. I didn't know what she was doing. She was trying to see who I was by the feel. 8 years later, and another intervention by her school teacher. Mom, is that what you look like? That, and I have never been able to get through that, never been able to get over it. That my daughter was finally able to see. And when she took a shower and she saw water coming down the side of it, she said, oh, Mom, I saw the water in the shower stall, and different things that she was saying. Her siblings, she didn't even know what they looked like. How she managed to run, play sports, to read, to write, to excel. They tested her for the gifted and talented class. How she saw the paperwork and read the information and tested the gifted. There was another force working for her, a supernatural force that brought her to this day. So that was, again, beginning a stirring in me of who is this child and how she able to do all these miraculous things and not have the physical sight in order to, how much our sight impacts everything we do. And so that was probably my most favorite memory. And every time I think about it, not just talk about it, I think about it, I get choked up. Mom, is that what you look like? Most favorite. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was something. But I remember that, different parts of it and struggling to do things, and I would sit in the front of the class all the time and have to go, but here I am.
Here you are.
My eyes were healed and they went backwards, and at one point I had 20/20, and right now they say I have 20/15 vision acuity, even though my eyes are getting older now, and so it's a little bit more difficult to see, so I have to wear my readers a lot, but yeah. But anyway,
thank God for the happy hunters and the healing experience in San Diego, California. Yes. Camille got her eyes totally healed and didn't wear glasses until from I think it was 9 until what? How old, Camille? Were you when you got healed? I mean, when you start wearing glasses.
Recently.
Just recently, yeah, at 44 years old. So about good 30 some odd years, 35 years old, 35 years.
Yeah. So, what is the funniest memory that you have of me?
If I could probably, as a child, the funniest was when I needed to go to the restroom and you would sit on your stomach and put your fingers under the little slits of the door and you do your fingers like that. Mom, out the door. And it was like, no, Camille, go away. I need to use the bathroom by myself. No, mom, open the door, open the door. That was probably my funniest of all times. And I think that's still the prevailing, the number one memory that keeps me laughing every time I open the door, not open the door, open the door.
Well, I got a dose of my own medicine because my oldest daughter was the same way. And she, Mom, you see my fingers? You see my finger? Out the door, out the door. Ma, it's me. It's Kayla. Oh, Ma, it's me. Out the door. What you doing? And I was like, OMG, can I just please, Kayla, go to the bed? I'm right here. You can hear me. I got to see your face. I got to see your face. Oh, Mom. Oh, I can't see you. So
And you
I
would
got,
say the same thing. I want to see your face. And I asked her, Camille, why would you always touch my face? She said, because I need to know what you look like. And she could, I guess, discern through the fingertips. That's before she had actual sight. But that's funny. She wanted to
yeah.
know what people, and she would go up to people, meet people. First thing she would do is start doing this. And I didn't get the clues because nobody in our family had had any eye problems. But I was warned by her dad's mom before we had children. She said, there's this problem with eyes in our family. It runs in every single generation and every single one of the children. Watch out for your children. And I didn't listen to her at that time. But after Camille, everybody had to have their eyes checked. And so there's two of them, or two of her siblings who have similar eye problems. She and the youngest son.
Yeah. And my daughter had the same thing.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
exact same thing. And can I also say that when she was 4, I took her to a healing service. And at 4 years old, she got healed. And I don't know if at 24 she's wearing glasses yet. But she, and again, I missed it. I need to tell this real quick. I took her to Benny Hinn's healing service in Shreveport in 2001, I think it was, Camille.
I was deployed.
And we were up on the 17th bleacher. I never forget. Kayla leaned over. She says, Grandmommy, who are those people down there? I said, there are people who are getting healed and they're going to give their testimony. She said, well, I got healed. I want to go give my testimony. Now she's 4. I'm telling her, no, baby, you okay. I took her to get healed. I didn't realize that the healing could extend up into that 17th bleacher, the bleacher number 17. And that this child, seeing those people down there, 17 bleachers down, she had to have been able to see, and she wasn't supposed to be able to see that much. So Camille got her a few months later. She kept complaining because she wouldn't wear her glasses. Camille took her to the doctor at the next duty station. I think it was in Guam, was it, Camille? And the doctor asked, where was it?
It was in Kadena, Okinawa.
Oh, in Okinawa.
I waited like 8-9 years or something. I don't know. She was like 9 years old.
And then the story was Camille took her back to the doctor, and so the doctor said, well, what is she saying? The reason why she's not wearing her glasses. And Camille said, she keeps saying my grandmama took me to a healing service and I got healed and I don't need glasses anymore. And so he looked at Camille and says, she's right. She's been healed. She doesn't need glasses anymore. So we both missed that, but I missed it again. But to this day, she's doing very, very well. Kayla is with her sight, and so is Camille. So
yes,
some things parents just miss.
Yeah, and it's true story. True story.
True story.
So he said, Mom, you need to listen to her. She said she's healed. Her eyes are healed. She don't need glasses. I'm like, she went from prisms and special glasses, and they said that they didn't know how she could see to not having to wear glasses at all. So
and she was 18 months old when Camille was able to detect hers.
Yeah. So things, miracles happen. All right. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up a little bit. But what is it like parenting me now?
Am I parenting you, Camille?
What is it like to be my parent as an adult?
It has given me great pleasure. I'm trying to work on my pride. I don't want to use that one too much. But when I see Camille speak, when I see her command audiences, when I see her provide guidance and counseling and strength to other people who are in challenges and in needs, I just really shake my head. And I have consistently over the last 3 decades watched this development of this woman warrior. I called her woman warrior at some point, and now I'm seeing it. Anybody come up against this one right here, whatever the situation is, she's going to give you something, a tool that's going to help you to win your battles, your victories, whatever it may be. So, but the roles are slightly reversed. I saw things in Camille that I wanted and I needed for my profession. Like I said, I have alphabets behind my name, but I realized that I miss I need some upgrade uh, um, training. And so I asked Camille, I said, I want to learn what you learn. I want to know what you know. And so we got into the creativity and innovation training together. We got into the diversity, equity, and inclusion training together with the University of South Florida. We've been partnering on some other things. She has coaches that I've been invited in on their trainings. We have the same coach right now that's going to help us to brand, because I'm still in business even at my age. Help me to brand. So, but Camille is leading the charge with that. Now I have 40 some odd years, almost 40 years of experience in a nonprofit management business, 16 years consecutively as a business owner. And so I've been able to help Camille with a little bit developing her business and everything, but she's helping to develop me at this stage and age of my life as a professional with relevant skills for this particular century and this generation. I wouldn't have made it without Camille. I think I would have did what I tried to do 4 years ago, and that was retire. But I got called back into it again, and God even enlarged my territories. So Camille is now my mentor. She's my mentor. She's my coach, and she's helping me with these skills. And so many things have changed even on the internet. You know, now we're going virtual, and I needed a whole other set of skills that I just did not have. And so, in that sense, and then sometimes when I'm dealing with I also have churches in Africa, and I deal with some of those. And she said, Mama, you were a little rude right there. Mama, you were a little harsh right there. So she's helping me to kind of fine tune my leadership skills and my and my conversation skills as well. But so I'm doing more being coached and mentored as opposed to being parenting her. I'm sitting back and reaping the fruits of what Camille is doing at this particular point. So if there's anything I tried to give them was, kind of sense of finding your own path and do your own thing, even though I got in the way sometimes. But I'm really seeing now, I'm seeing the fruition. She's not come full circle. There's so much more to Camille that needs to be developed. And she's so much like me. We have so many gifts, so many talents. Like, okay, where do we start and what do we do and how do we narrow it down? And so I can relate to that and can provide some skills. But as far as it's kind of hard to parent adult children. So now when they were little, they used to try to be friends with me. And I would tell them, I said, I am not your friend. I'm your mom. When you get grown and on your own, then we can be friends. So now I'm seeing this friendship develop with me and Camille, that the military, with her being gone all the time in different places and continents, and in wars and situations. We only had small bits of time around the holidays, but I'm really so enjoying it. I've been to Georgia 3 times since April, I think it was, spending weeks. And I think the first time was 4 weeks, the second time was days, and this last one was almost 5 weeks. Really getting to reacquainted with my daughter and being very much, people don't impress me. I've been there, done that, seen that, and all that stuff. People don't impress me. This one impresses me. And so I'm so proud of her and all of her friends that have embraced me, that whole group of powerful, professional, up and coming people. And I feel confident that as I may be transitioning, hoping another 20 years off this earth, that this group of young people will make an impact on this world, and they will step into shoes and take the next generations much higher than we were able to do, because they're more skilled, they're more knowledgeable, they're more trained, they're investing in themselves, and have taught me to invest in myself past my college education. So investing in additional skills, knowledge, abilities, trainings, coaches, mentors, I'm in the mix and I'm enjoying every bit of it. So this is awesome experience being friends, and maybe even at this point I could say peers, with my second daughter, who's 27 years younger than I am. It's been a great experience and a wonderful ride.
Awesome. All right. So as we close out, I'm just going to ask you, see if it's mine, but as an adult, throughout my career and everything, what was one of your proudest moments? I know you talked about me in business and things like that, but one of the things that stood out um, in this part of my life.
Um, Besides giving me two wonderful granddaughters, love them, love them, love them, and they're so much like me. I feel like I'm raising my children in them. But my most proudest was when Camille intuitively had the sense to get her dad and I and another sister to come to her. She was being pinned for her senior master sergeant, and that I had never attended that type of ceremony before, and I didn't know what all it entailed. So we got a chance to actually be on the stage, and we did the pinning and everything else, and to have her dad there, me there, and her second sister there. It was probably the proudest moment of her military career for me. I said, oh my God. And then second to that was her retirement. Again, now the retirement, maybe the two of them are almost equal. We brought all four of her siblings and their mates and some of their children, myself and the dad alone. And we had this very intimate time with Camille during her retirement that, it was a tear jerker for all of us. And so I got a chance to spend intimate time with her and her dad. We've been separated 30 some odd years, since 1986. So we got a chance to sit down on the couch together, talk about Camille and how proud we were, and had that time of just saluting our daughter and being a part of this, not only having her reach the height of her military career and also be there for her retirement as well. I think those were the two heights for me, and they may be equal, Camille, now that I look back on it. The emotional experience watching my daughter, who I thought would never make it a week in the military, made 25 years and made it to one of the senior ranks, senior master sergeant, Camille Yvonne Stevenson Thomas. That was, whoa, it happened. And she made it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that was two great moments for me. My father had never been to any of my, even though he's retired military, never been to any of my events. And to have him there in the way that I had him there with my parents, my family, because, and I'm going to say this, for people who remarry and things like this, kids still need time with their parents alone, even as adults. And sometimes, when you get married and you want to come as a couple and everything, especially if you've had some distance between you guys for years, it's important that the kids and the parents are able to be open and vulnerable with themselves without other people's judgment, without other people there taking the attention and energy away from that moment between parent and child. And even though I was grown at the time, 43 years old, I needed that with my father. I needed my family. I needed my parents there. And there are some things that you can only say to them, and to where they can be open and honest with you. And in both of those cases, I was able to have that with my parents. And that was very, very important to me. I don't care what anybody had to say about it. If you're not invited, you're not invited. I'm not meaning that in a bad way. But for 40 some years or 30 some years, I had been separated from my father. I didn't have a time to have that intimate interaction. And then with my family as a unit for the first time in I don't know how many years, 30 something years, it was very important for me and very special for me. And then, of course, I lost my dad a couple of months after that. So I'm even more grateful that I did it my way. So I just wanted to say that. And I think that gave me closure to a lot of things, with my dad being gone. We were able to have that intimate conversation, ask the things that I wanted to ask and say the things that I wanted to say. And he was able to do the same. So that was important to me. And I'm so appreciative of the time that we had. So, but we're going to close this up, Mom. I want to say this was fun. Thank you so much
My pleasure.
for doing this with me. And I don't know, who knows, in the next couple of years, it might be tables turn, maybe even the next couple of months to see what you're doing, because you're doing a whole lot. But I just want to say thank you so much for that, Mom. I love you.
Love it. Love you too. Mm.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed and just, seeing another part of who I am from, the person who knows me well, the person who gave me life, and has been with me on this ride since, way back when. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and yeah, reach out to me, ask me some things. I'm open book. All right, take care, everyone.
Great person.
Yes. All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye.